This is going to be a good one, folks. This is going to be a good one. Another day etched in the history books for the Miami Dolphins. He actually did it. For the first time in a very long time, I can say that I'm proud of Stephen Ross. I am so proud of the decision that Stephen Ross has made today. And he fired Mike McDaniel. He actually did it. I didn't think he was going to do it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't know what to think the last couple weeks. For some reason, it's been 50-50. It shouldn't have been. He should have 100% been. It should have been no doubts. No doubts that he was going to be fired at the end of the season. But it happened. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God. Woo! I'm so happy. I'm so happy my mouth hurts. It's been 4 seasons, ladies and gentlemen. It has been 4 damn seasons. I've been calling this since the loss to Kansas City. I've been calling for his firing since they lost the wild card game to Kansas City. I'm like, they collapsed 2 years in a row with him. He doesn't adjust. And he didn't adjust in that game either. And I understand you're going into it -4 degrees. But your team played like they didn't want to be there in that playoff game. I'm just so relieved. I'm so relieved. I'm not happy. He's going to get a job. For all the people saying, oh, don't celebrate that he lost his job. Ladies and gentlemen, he's going to find a job by next week. He's already got interest from the Cleveland Browns to be their next head coach. And he's already got interest from the Detroit Lions to be their next offensive coordinator. So for people saying, oh, don't celebrate someone losing their job, he's going to have a job by next week, ladies and gentlemen. Don't feel bad for him whatsoever. I don't feel bad for him. Not an ounce. Bye-bye. Adios. I couldn't be happier. Oh my goodness. Stephen Ross, we got a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. But let's just go ahead and read what the Dolphins... This is from Stephen Ross. And this happened like around 10:30 today. So I'm recording this like around 4:15 as I just got home from work. Oh my God, I waited all day to talk about this. This is from Miami Dolphins owner Stephen Ross today. After careful evaluation and extensive discussions since the season ended, I have made the decision that our organization is in need of comprehensive change. I informed Mike McDaniel this morning that he has been relieved of his duties as head coach. I love Mike, and I want to thank him for his hard work, commitment, and the energy he brought to our organization. Mike is an incredibly creative football mind whose passion for the game and his players was evident every day. I wish him and his family the best moving forward. That was from Stephen Ross when he decided to pull the plug on Mike McDaniel. This was Mike McDaniel. This is what he had to say. This was posted on the Dolphins Twitter account. He said, this came from Mike McDaniel. Coaching this team and being a part of this great franchise has been the honor of a lifetime. When I took this job, I had the vision of a team that was bonded together and played with passion and energy on a path to winning championships. Weren't even close to that, buddy. You weren't even close. I gave everything I had for that goal. I am disappointed, especially for the fans. Yeah, you should be. That we did not have better results on the field. But I am grateful for every coach, player, and staff member who poured themselves into that vision alongside me. I'm grateful to Stephen Ross for the opportunity he gave me, a little-known coach at the time when he hired me. Most of all, I am thankful to my wife, Katie, and daughter, Ayla, for their unending love and support. I love this game, the people and relationships that are part of it, and I will forever cherish my time in Miami. That came from head coach Mike McDaniel. And then we have some reports to get to, a couple videos as well. According to Barry Jackson, Mike McDaniel's firing was a shock to him and his camp as they expected to remain in Miami in 2026. Apparently, McDaniel was talking to coaches on the staff that he would be returning for the 2026 season, as that does not seem to be the case anymore. The candidates for the Miami Dolphins general manager job have been asked about their opinion on Mike McDaniel and were asked to provide a list of potential replacements if the team were to fire Mike McDaniel. So basically what I'm getting from with these interviews, that most of these general managers did not want to work with Mike McDaniel and they wanted to pick out their own head coach. So after I go through these reports, I'm going to give you my theory. I'm going to talk more about Mike McDaniel, but I do want to talk about this general manager search because they must absolutely nail. They must hit a home run with the new general manager. That is the most important. That is the most important hiring they are going to make is the general manager. Stephen Ross met with Mike McDaniel Tuesday to discuss Mike's plans for the 2026 season and to review the 2025 season. And upon some reflection, Stephen Ross decided it was best to part ways with him. That's according to Albert Breer. The Browns, they're showing interest in Mike McDaniel. This is funny. This is according to Ian Rappaport. Mike McDaniel was extremely emotional once he was informed that he was going to be fired as head coach of the Miami Dolphins. I could just imagine the upsetness, the sadness of Mike when he got informed that he was going to be fired. You know when I was emotional? I was emotional when this team blew a 17-0 lead to the Carolina Panthers and they lost. I was emotional when they went on the road to play the Cleveland Browns and they lost 31-6. I was emotional then. I was emotional when they completely no-showed the Thursday night football game against the Miami Dolphins. I was emotional over every bad play call Mike McDaniel made over the last 2 years. I was emotional when the team pooped down their pants in a cold weather game on the road on prime time once again this season under Mike McDaniel. And I was emotional every time they came out unprepared in the third quarter. That is the biggest reason why we fired Mike McDaniel. The biggest reason we fired Mike McDaniel was because no halftime adjustments. There were 0 halftime adjustments from Mike McDaniel ever. Maybe a couple times, but I mean, you look at this year and the way they performed in the third quarter. We talked about it on Sunday with the post-game recap. The last 10 games from week 9 to week 18, the last 9 games from week 9 to week 18, they scored 0 points. 0 points in all of those games in the third quarter. They came out flat. They came out no adjustments. So what are they doing at halftime? What is Mike McDaniel doing with these guys at halftime? That is the biggest reason why he is fired, is his lack of adjustments. Lack of adjustments at halftime and lack of adjustments of changing the offense. His offense was on fire the first 2 years he was the head coach here. 2022, the offense was great. 2023, the offense was better. But do you know when this offense got figured out? This offense got figured out when they went to Kansas City and that playoff game. They got figured out pretty quickly. And right then and there, when they lost that playoff game and they scored 7 points on the road, Mike should have adjusted the whole offense. Mike should have adjusted Mike should have changed the offense. And he refused. And that's why he's fired. His game day operations was terrible. The way he came out this year, his team came out this year against the Indianapolis Colts, was pathetic. The team quit on him. The team quit on him against the Colts. The team quit on him against the Cincinnati Bengals. And if you don't think they quit on him in that Patriots game last week, you're out of your goddamn mind. You're out of your fucking mind. And another big reason why Mike deserves to get fired, and he deserved to get fired, and why he got fired today, was his link up with Tua Tagovailoa. He went ride or die with Tua, and that was his guy. And he came in, and Tua played great, and Tua obviously had the concussion issues, and Tua, of course, he's injured every year. He had a healthy year in 2023. Best year of his career. Led the league in passing yards. And it looked like Mike McDaniel succeeded in unlocking Tua Tagovailoa. And then it went off the rails. It went completely off the rails this season. I wouldn't even say it was that bad. He was very average last year. But this year, it was awful. And honestly, if Mike was a true leader of men, and he was a true leader for the Dolphins, there were 2 chances to bench Tua Tagovailoa when he did not. Your first opportunity to bench him was when he exposed the locker room and called out his teammates for being late to meetings and practices. You don't fucking do that to your team. You don't expose your team like that to the fucking local media. and it goes out to the national media. You just don't do that, and he doesn't know how to be a leader. Mike should have benched him there, but he did not. Mike should have also benched him when he had that ugly, worst performance of his career against Cleveland. How many times have we said that this year? Tua's worst performance of his career. Well, his worst performance of his career was against Cleveland, and he should have been benched. He should have sat out the rest of the year. And Mike has shown that he's lost the locker room. There were reports that they were playing hard for him at the end of the year. They were playing hard for themselves because they're professionals who get paid, and they're looking for really nice contracts next year. So spew me with the bullshit that they won 4 games in a row because the players wanted to play hard for Mike McDaniel. Nah, they curb stomped the Buffalo Bills, which was awesome, and they played a couple stinky teams. They played a couple awful teams. They played Washington, they played the Saints, they played the Jets. Crappy teams that they barely beat. They barely beat Washington. They barely beat the Saints. They were up 16-0 against the Saints. They almost lost the game. And Mike's play calling in that game was bad. It was really bad. He lost the locker room last year, or the 2024-2025 season. He lost the locker room. Veterans walked all over him. Jalen Ramsey, Tyreek Hill, Jordan Poyer, Javon Holland. These guys didn't take into what he was saying. They weren't buying in to what he was saying at all. And they weren't playing for him. And he wasn't a leader of men. And that's what this organization needs. They need a leader of men. They need a guy who's going to come in here and he's going to be tough and he's going to change the culture. Because the era with your gold watches and your sweatpants and the gold sunglasses and the hoodies, that era's over. The nerd boy era, it's done. It's over. It should have happened after last year. After last season, Mike should have been fired. They waited another year. Status quo wasn't good enough, but we're going to bring back Chris and Mike. They're both gone. We now have a clean slate. And listen, Mike brought a lot of great memories. That Dallas playoff game, that Dallas Christmas Eve game to get us into the playoffs in 23, the outstanding comeback against the Baltimore Ravens in 2022, the 70-point game in 2023. The league couldn't figure out Mike's offense. It was outstanding until Tua got hurt, and then no other quarterback could play in the offense. And then they got to Kansas City in the playoffs, and yes, it was negative 4 degrees out, but they got exposed. They got exposed, and they did nothing about it. And they just drowned. And another reason why Mike got fired, and we've talked about this all the time. So it's not like I really have to bring it up again, but I will. Back-to-back years, starting off 2-6. Last year, started off 2-6. Tried to make a late comeback. Couldn't do it. Finished the year at 8-9. This year, you started out 2-6 again. Try to make a late surge late in the year. You play a couple bad teams. You get 4 wins in a row. Finish the year 7-10. Pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. This fan base deserves better. And for the first time in a very long time, I'm sorry if you can hear my dogs barking in the background, but for the first time in a very long time, there's hope. There is hope in Miami. It's not going to be easy. There's a lot of work to do. But what's going to happen? Let's talk about it right now. Let me take a sip first. They narrowed it down to 4 guys. 4 guys have been selected for in-person interviews with the Dolphins. It's Chad Alexander from the Chargers, John Eric Sullivan from the Green Bay Packers, Josh Williams from the San Francisco 49ers, who I said on Tuesday reported he had a really strong relationship with Mike, and then Champ Kelly, who was the interim general manager this season. You can cancel out Champ Kelly and Josh Williams. I don't think with Mike getting fired, they are not going to be the new general manager. So this thing is going to come down to Chad Alexander and John Eric Sullivan from the Packers. Assistant general manager and like president of operations or something like that is Eric Sullivan. So when you think about it, they're going to hire the general manager first. That just makes the most sense. They got to hire the general manager first, and the general manager gets to pick the head coach. The general manager is going to pick the general manager is going to pick his guy for who he wants to be the head coach. Can you believe the Dolphins did the right thing? I can't believe it. Steven, God bless you, man. So what can they do? Well, if they hire Chad Alexander, we'll start with Sullivan first. If they hire John Eric Sullivan, and he is the new general manager of the Green Bay Packers, in my opinion, they're going to either hire Mike McCarthy, because McCarthy's had coaching experience with the Packers, and John Eric Sullivan was in that organization, or the defensive coordinator for Green Bay, Jeff Hafley. If John Eric Sullivan is the head coach, is the new general manager, our head coach is either going to be Mike McCarthy or Jeff Hafley. Okay? And this is just my prediction. So I'm not saying this is going to happen, but this is my prediction on what's going to happen now that we have to get a new general manager and a new head coach. So if we hire president of operations John Eric Sullivan, I have a strong feeling, in my opinion, they're going to hire either Mike McCarthy, who's been there with Green Bay before, or they're going to hire Jeff Hafley, who is the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. If they hire Chad Alexander, they're either going to hire Jesse Minter, who's the defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers, or they're going to hire John Harbaugh, because John Harbaugh has worked with Alexander before in Baltimore many years ago. Alexander works with Jim Harbaugh now that he's the assistant general manager with the Chargers. So he already knows the Harbaugh family. Gosh, if John Harbaugh is our head coach, I'm gonna have to learn how to say Harbaugh correctly. And honestly, it's not a coincidence that you fired Mike McDaniel 2 days after the Baltimore Ravens fired John Harbaugh. And I said it on Tuesday. They're not going to fire Mike unless they're not going to fire Mike unless they really want to go and pursue John Harbaugh. And to me, you've got to go all in now. You've got to go all in on John Harbaugh. There's no other answer, in my opinion. I don't know if I'll be disappointed if we get somebody else. That time will come if that is the case. But now You've got this legendary coach who coached 18 years with the Baltimore Ravens. He's gotten them to the playoffs nearly every single season besides this year. I think you got to go out and get him. You got to go with a full court press, and you just got to take a big swing if you're Stephen Ross. And you got to get John Harbaugh in the building as the head coach, and you got to get Chad Alexander in here as a general manager, and let's go. Let's go. It's going to be a long process. I still don't think this team is going to be good next year. I don't expect the Miami Dolphins to be a good football team next year. But for the first time in a very long time, since the end of the 2023 season, before the collapse against Baltimore, Buffalo, and Kansas City, there's hope. There is hope for the fan base. And we wanted change. We needed change. We deserved change. Now we got change. And it's up to the organization to go ahead and hit a home run with these hires. And it's got to be the general manager first. And that has been the most important. That is the most important hire of the whole offseason. More important than the head coach. More important than the quarterback. More important than anything they're going to do this offseason. The most important position is the general manager, because the general manager is responsible for hiring the head coach and putting the team together. But they've got left with a lot of scraps. They're going to have dead money. They're not going to have a lot of cap space at all, because they're going to have to cut Tua Tagovailoa. They're going to have to eat that. They're going to have to eat that money. And I don't know who they're going to bring in at quarterback next year. This new regime might think of differently of players that are on the team right now. Like, do they like Jalen Waddle and they want to keep Jalen Waddle? Or are they going to look to trade Jalen Waddle? What about Devon Achane? I would sign Devon Achane. He is a top 5 running back in the NFL. But you never know. What about guys like Zach Sealer? Does Zach Sealer fit does Zach Sealer fit this regime? Does Zach Sealer fit the new scheme? Because also what you got to consider with this is, now that we're going to get a new head coach, we're going to get a new defensive coordinator, we're going to get a new offensive coordinator, we're going to have a lot of spots on the Dolphins coaching staff. We're going to have a lot of new faces on the team next year. And I'm looking forward to this. They got to cut Tua. They're probably going to cut Tyreek Hill. I can imagine they're going to cut Bradley Chubb too. But I'm happy, man. I'm fucking happy. It's been too long. It should have happened last year. And the nerd boy era is over. And, you know, Tua and Mike ride and die. They ride with each other during the highs, and they literally die with each other and lose their jobs in the same season. So, I will not miss them. Honestly, I will not miss them. Mike did have some good moments, but overall, the bad moments highlighted the good moments, and this is a blessing for us, as it should be for Dolphins fans. But this is a blessing, and I'm happy. And now we just gotta hit a home run with this general manager hire, and we gotta hit a home run with the head coaching hire too, and then we're off from there. So, my prediction, based off what happens this weekend, they might hire the general manager by Monday, because John Harbaugh is not doing interviews until next week. So I don't think they're going to hire the general manager until next week. So next week I'll be making a video about the new general manager. But that's going to be it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great night. Subscribe to the Big Fight Field channel. Comment down below your thoughts on the firing of Mike McDaniel. Hit the like button if you like what you heard from me. And follow me on Twitter and TikTok, Conlon_Joseph. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good night. Stay safe. And as always, stay classy. And oh my God, I can proudly say it. Go Dolphins.